He's like Clint Eastwood, the director just goes.
Ready to go, Brian?
Here you go.
Hey, listen, I want to just thank everybody for coming.
Thank you.
It's extraordinarily touching, and quite candidly, a little bit overwhelming. But it was clearly in my mind what happened, over the course of the last 40 years, you guys know that everybody's knocked me off continuously from every character in every company. Some, like Mattel, who turned around and did it on their own with the Marvel, the DC characters. Others like Nyko did it in the Planet of the Apes characters, and then a bunch of other guys. And I resisted doing and coming back with a Mego brand because I quite candidly had two lives. My first life I considered like the Beatles, which was Mego. I mean, we did everything. We had every hit that was. And my second life wasn't quite as exciting, but it was more like Wings. We had a couple of hits. we had, I don't know if you guys know, we did the Power Glove, which was a huge success, and quite candidly started the whole virtual reality marketplace. It was really the first one. We did Skydancer, that probably sold somewhere in the vicinity of 30 million pieces. We turned Skydancer into the flying superheroes, some of which you guys may have known and not known, but all those flying characters came through a little company that I and a bunch of other success, but never like what Mego was once in a lifetime. It was that shock therapy, holy cow. And so I didn't want to go back and take a chance, quite candidly, of sailing off into the sunset. I'm almost 76 years old, so I feel young, and quite candidly, I look young. I feel like a young guy, but I don't kid myself in terms of it. And so I think when I sail off into the sunset, I want a little wind in my sails. And so I resisted it, and then a couple of guys have come to me, big partners, and said they're going to give us an opportunity to go to mass. The reason everybody wasn't successful in the past is because they didn't get out to the mass audience. And doing it on the collector's market is very, very tough to get any kind of movements through the secondary players, through the collector players, even through the comic book stores. I had dinner last night with Balthazar. He has 3 stores. I'm sure he loves the stuff, but you can't get enough stuff out there. And so I resisted that. But now we're gonna go to mass. And because we couldn't get all of the stuff that I did in the past, we did get warnings for the 14-inch size, but we couldn't get the 8-inch. But we're looking to work with Marvel. Because Hasbro, they turned us down. We had to open up that bandwidth. And so we said, okay, we're going to do the Megos. We're going to do some Megos that we didn't do in the 70s. For example, Jimi Hendrix. One of the greatest, if not the greatest rocker of all time, in terms of that. But it's keeping to the theme and the family of what we did in the 70s. And Paul has been helping, quite candidly, been our guide through this whole process in terms of keeping us true to our identity. So having said that, and having that with his relationships, I thought it would be remiss for me to turn around and jump the shark, make an announcement about when we come back with the whole Mego line without going to you guys first. Because this room has got the hardcore guys who have been supporting the brand, they're supporting the idea, supporting the time for the last 40 years. And if you guys weren't here, I'm quite sure this couldn't possibly even happen. Because there was no one to carry the torch. So that's clearly, I said to Paul, we have to go there first. We're speaking at there's a Mego Con in Long Island on the 16th of June, which the official announcement is going to be made, so you guys know about it in advance. And everything that's been let out, both the press, not for anybody, other than people who care. And so that's part of what the process is. And so having said that, there's no question in my mind, we cannot be successful without you guys. So when this goes out, for all intents and purposes, and I told Paul, I want to create an ambassador program. The guys who go out and get 4, 5, 6 guys to get on board. And if they don't necessarily have to get on board with a purchase, they got to get on board with getting out there and getting the word out. Because 5 guys, breed 5 more guys, breed 5 more guys, and we get the maximum publicity. I'm going to give you a little insight that no one knows yet. just signed a relationship. The very first icon that we did at Mego was Joe Namath. February is the 50th anniversary of his Super Bowl win, the first, which really made the NFL. Because if the two leagues merged, if the NFC kept knocking them down inside the AFC, who knows what would have happened to that aspect of football. But with his win, it catapulted. Next year, I think Kansas City won the Super Bowl. It changed the whole play. We just signed him to come to be with us at Comic-Con in San Diego, and he's going to be sitting on our panel, and he's going to be giving autographs. He's been a friend of mine for 50 years. We stayed in contact over the years. His partner, Jim Walsh, who's his lawyer, his partner, his friend, his confidant. He's been with him 50 years. Joe is the most loyal guy. You know, whether you like him, you don't like him, you like the Jets, you didn't like the Jets. This guy is whatever all of us would want to be and have as a friend, just in terms of bond. And so he's coming. So we're going to turn around and launch a special Joe Namath piece for this Christmas with one of our partners. So I want to, just to give you a sense of what we're attempting to do, when this all comes out, use whatever stuff you want to use. Just try to make it nice, obviously.
YouTube videos.
You know, just
On YouTube.
just get an idea of what, I mean, it's just, when your kids here, that's the third generation. I've got my grandson here. Who is spectacular, but you know, he knows less about Mego than but the process is we're bringing it back. We don't want you to go to the press and run and say this is happening on the 16th because we can't preempt our partnerships, and then we have a couple of major partners who want to tie into us, and you're going to find this really impressive people. Some of you guys may know about it in advance because we've told a couple of people they can't keep their mouth shut, and we understand that. But if you go out and you talk to people, keep that to yourself who it is across the board. But understanding that this is real, you're coming with real promotion, real ideas, real marketing savvy. They've got it set up for us for even next year because they want us to go after some major American personalities who were part of the 70s and 80s in terms of pop culture. And we want you guys to feel that you're very much part of it. So what we're going to try to do is set up a newsletter to the people who come to these meetings, keep you involved. And the last piece I want to talk about before I open up the questions, and by the way, you can ask me anything you like. There's nothing that is sacrosanct. I will tell you exactly the truth about everything across the board. Is that we just want to make this really exciting and make it really happen. So having said that, any question you want to ask?
I got one right away. You mentioned you had this.
Yes.
We had one right away.
Well, again, you tell. What?
You know, no plans. No, right? Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, that's fine.
When it comes to, by the way, when it comes to people, ideas that you think would be for this, email Paul. Paul is our
and submit YouTube videos when the announcement's made. We want you guys to be going out there and evangelizing about this, to get it out there to the wider world, okay? But in our Mego Ambassador, we'll have surveys, writings. What would you want to see? I know you guys love to make lists. So we'll have it where you can enter in. This is what I would think is good, because you look into things and figure out what works. Never put an ending.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
But, all right. So you want to take questions? Anybody have a question? I know you guys have questions. Yes, sir.
We were late coming in. It's going to be called Mego?
It's going to be called.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, excuse me, would you stand up and turn the t-shirt? No, get up and turn. This is the new
all the way around.
hearing something or reading something that Lego ended up with the name because.
Well, Lego never wound up with the name. They tried to preclude me
Gotcha.
from getting the name. So we started a new company called Mego,
Gotcha.
which we own, which is operating, which is how we're funding the whole company. And they can't stop us, but not to be cute about it. What we did was we had Marty Abrams presents Mego.
Yeah.
That they can't stop.
Yeah,
They have no ownership. They're just being difficult because they want to be, and because they can be. I mean, we were in business in America 20 years before they even set up.
Yeah.
And so but if I go to court, I got to fight them, which we would win because of it would cost $1 million. Clarke came around. $1 million to spend on that. So that's what that's.
Yeah, I always knew Lego.
Yes.
I never knew Lego when I was a kid.
You have a question?
How did you come up with the name Mego again?
Funny story. The company was really started by my father back in '56, and my younger brother, whenever the family went any place, he would go Mego too, because he wanted to tag along. He was a kid, and so that's how the company was named. And so years later, when the company got successful, like fake news. They said the name was called, the reason it was named Mego was called Marty's Ego. This was, by the way, 20 years after the company was formed. And so I was maybe originally 11 years old. But that's that was the rumor.
Batman?
Are you gonna make 8-inch or 12-inch or just one scale?
No, we're making every scale that we can do.
Okay.
8-inch, 3 3/4 inch, 12-inch, 14-inch, whatever.
Wow, that's
whatever
awesome.
works with the characters. Oh, and the reason for that is the licenses. Some of the licenses preclude sizes.
Okay.
And preclude price points. So we want to get every license that we can. And by doing that, it may take us to do some uniqueness in terms of the originality. But like they asked before, it's going to be under the Mego brand. This
Okay.
is not under some third-party brand. It's not under some
Right.
business brand. This is the Mego. So we'll be making all the different sizes.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir.
Mego.
I got a question. Of all the Mego style figures over the years, do you have a favorite?
I was just gonna ask that. What do you mean? The ones that are not me, you know?
No, Mego, real
Okay.
Mego figures, the original.
So I've got two. One because it was the starting point, and the other because it's gone on forever for me. First Batman, obviously, because I'm sure you guys know the story about Action Jackson. We had this great line that we built. The concept of Action Jackson was really to take G.I. Joe, reduce the size. In the world, by reducing the size, the world that you create around that size, you can create vehicles, you can create violence. You couldn't do that with Joe, because once you put it to scale of a 12-inch action figure, the size and the scale of a Jeep would be that big, and the pricing would be out of whack. So we turned around and reduced the size, so we had this whole world up. We wound up getting screwed up because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. I remember I was a kid at the time. Going back to 1970, I was like 27, 28 years old. How did I know? I just knew that I liked the idea, let's go do it. Today, if I did something like that, they'd find me on the side. Anyway, we turned around and made all these great commercials. The original Mego Action Jackson commercials
Oh, great.
would hold up today because they're all animated. And then because we're something called the National Association of Broadcasters, they said, you have crossed the line, you cannot do animation with kids for commercials, and they pulled all my commercials. The second they pulled the commercials, the product stopped selling. The product stopped selling, having these huge markdowns to the retailers. Now I'm sitting with all these tools. What do you do with them? Guy walks into my office, cold turkey. He has all these different characters he wants me to do. And I turned down the Lone Ranger, I turned down Dick Tracy, I turned down Ivanhoe. He had every aspect. The last thing he pulls out was Batman. And I said, I'll take Batman. He said, why would you want Batman? Batman was a disaster. Batman wasn't a disaster. Captain Action was a disaster. And if you remember Captain Action, Batman, and Superman, and Spider-Man, one character. Yeah, the kids knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. The kids knew Bruce Wayne was Batman. Everybody knows who Clarke Kent is, except the Ideal Toy Company who tried to figure out they were going to surreal the whole character base. So I said, let me just make the Batman character. And by the way, what are the characters you have? I said, if you're the Batman, let's do Superman, Robin, Joker. All of a sudden I had a line. So it's always, Batman will always be the nearest and first. It saved my ass quite now. I would not even be here talking about it because the Batman didn't sell. And I'll tell you interesting enough. We made Batman at that time, I think for about 82 cents. Maybe 90 cents.
I'll take some.
I went to Toys R Us, and I said, I gave him these 4 characters. I said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to sell them for $3.99. He said, why $3.99? Just because I'm going to give you a chance to buy one order at $1. But all your reorders have to come in at $2.25, which is my original selling price. But I want to give you a chance to make money because I believe it's going to sell $3.99. We bought 100,000 pieces, and they sold out in 10 days. So he calls me back and says, come out to, and I go out to Toys R Us. He says, he gives me an order for 400,000 pieces. But he gives it to me at $1. I said, are you crazy? I said, I lost money on the first one. You can't lose money on these. I want to prove a point. And that, I'm not breaking my price, $2.25. And he said, I thought you would say that. He switched the payment out.
You gotta try.
And he gave me that order. And so that's how it all. So it'll always be Batman. My second favorite will always be Clarke.
Nice.
Clarke is
He's just cool. Yeah.
He's a cool guy. But the best part about Star Trek, is that nobody wants Star Trek. I mean, some of you guys saw the Star Trek episode on Netflix, which had a little bit of fake news in it as well. But having said that, we turned around and we bought Star Trek for $5,000.
Wow.
I mean, you can't even talk to the studios today unless you're talking 100,000 or better, and that's for a minor deal. If you're talking a big, major license, it's 300,000 to 400,000. If you're talking a massive toy license, it's millions. And if you're talking something like Marvel, I think Marvel gets from Hasbro somewhere that would say a guarantee over $250 million just it's over a couple of years, so maybe a 5-year period. Let's say the number is just astronomical. So when you talk about going back 5 years, that being a really pretty cool.
Thank you.
Here's a question. You have. Okay.
Well, I just want to jump on to, you're talking about releasing at Toys R Us. One of my fondest memories is being at Toys R Us in Langley Park, Maryland, and seeing the end cap of all the solid boxes. And I don't know how I talked my mom into it, but we came out with Batman, Robin, and Superman that day. So
It was a trip. It was a very heady time. I'll tell you a quick story about Toys R Us. The head merchandising manager there, who started from the very, very beginning, was a guy named Size Zip, very famous in the realm of the toy industry. He was a very good friend of mine. And I had just gotten the rights from a company called Takara to a brand called Micronauts, which was in Japan. Everybody in the world had seen that line in passing. I, of course, didn't know that. I saw that line and I almost had a heart attack. I thought it was the greatest line in the history of the world. It was. And so we took the rights to it. But they had been doing that line for 3 years, and so there was a huge amount of product. And so when we turned around, it was very Asian, very Japanese looking. So what we did, we turned around and we Americanized it, we Westernized it. We changed the sculpture of the faces, we terms of the packaging, but using basically a lot of their tools. So when I made a presentation at Toys R Us, I mean, you thought the line was ready to be shipped, and it was this huge, magnificent, humongous line. So we turned around, but I needed a central place where all the characters, almost like the bridge of the Enterprise, where all the characters could stay. Because the Biotron, you had the spaceships, all broken up in different areas, but there was no headquarters. So we created this headquarters piece. It cost us about $40,000. At that time, it was a lot of money. But it was made out of clay. It was the first piece we made over to tooling. So I bring in a senior guy at Toys R Us, this guy's size, and make this presentation. I think I am just the greatest salesman that ever talked. Took a breath of air in the toy industry. I laid out the characters. I laid out the interrelation between the characters. How you can turn around and take this 5mm plug and plug them into each other. And you can do all these different things. How they had vehicles and robots. The robots came apart. I'm just going on and on like I don't stop. I just turns around. Now I said, and by the way, this ties it all together. The headquarters. And the guy looks at me and says, I said, what you get? How are you going to sell all this stuff? Who's going to buy all this stuff? This stuff is ridiculous. And he takes my handmade sample, which is made of, well, it's not clay, but it's that prototype material, and he throws it at me. Now it's unbalanced. So it's, I see it's in the air, and I see it's going like this, and I'm going to die, like I'm going to see the DVD commercial, and he grabs it and saves it from falling on the ground. Not me, I missed it. Crashed all over the place into 10,000 pieces. I was in a heart attack. He just literally destroyed $40,000, which is like $100,000 today. I mean, it was just, I had a big company at the time. I could afford it, but it was just, oh my God, it's got another 6 weeks of work. I was like sick to my stomach. 3 weeks later, I get a phone call to come out to Toys R Us. I figure, oh, this son of a bitch is going to turn around. I walk out there. They just come into my office. And I'm with my salesman, who was in on this bullshit, I'll tell you. He turns around and says, listen, I really want you to know that I think this line sucks. Meaning Micronauts. And I think it's worthless. And I don't think we have a chance, but I feel guilty about what I did to your prototype. And he gives me an open order for $750,000, which was like a real manly thing to do. So I screwed up. And we wound up doing that year with over $5 million on Micronauts. So you never know how things are going to work out. Problems, opportunities, pain, anguish, good, bad, all the other. You just got to take the good with the bad.
If the 8-inch licenses were stage 1 for Mego and Micronauts were stage 2, what do you think would have been stage 3?
Well, we during our doing that, stage 2 was the 3 3/4 because of the cost size. Again, when you reduce enough maintenance down to 3 3/4, now you really can build these great worlds at a much lower price point. As a matter of fact, you have one right, Star Wars. Star Wars, if you look at Darth Vader is Barry Cosmo. Barry Cosmo was out way before Darth Vader. Full year. You look at 3 3/4 inches, which is when they came at. That was a whole, comic action characters. So that was the next stage in terms of building these things out, so we could build worlds around them and put in the mechanisms, put in the marketing sides, and drive the margins, drive the collectability.
I'm going to preface my question by saying Captain America is one of my favorite Megos. But I'm going to ask, what happened? Why did the ball get dropped? The boots, the lack of gloves, or could have been the sleeve, could have been red from here down with a red hand, like other action figures. What happened with Captain America? Spider-Man was changed.
No idea. None. The first time anybody asked me that question,
It's Neil Kublin's fault.
We don't blame Neil. Neil was great. He was along with us.
Cap was one of the first ones introduced. It was like, it was, Marvel did not insist on, you have to follow this style guide. They gave him Jack Kirby's artwork, and there's the basic elements, but when they get to see the prototype to sign off, production sample, and they said he's a shield, great. They worried that Spider-Man had red hands, that Spider-Man was accurate, but since it was Stan Lee's secretary who approved it, that's who did the licensing then. And they worried that Spider-Man was on key, but Cap, the sleeves are fine.
Let me just say this. Before we got involved in this part of the business, the royalty rates were 5%. Now they're 18 to 20%. The companies were making zero money off the licensing. They had a licensing department, but they were doing a Pez dispenser. They were doing a Mickey Mouse type of watch. I mean, they weren't building the core brands like we did and built out, which then allowed you to go into the t-shirt business and the shoe business. None of that existed. As a matter of fact, when I was first doing business with Paramount, the licensing department was outsourced. Fox, the licensing department was outsourced. Paramount, outsourced. Universal and Disney, the only ones who had an internal department, and they had 6 people in licensing. It was just, they just didn't pay attention to it because it wasn't a moneymaker. Now you're talking about, in Disney, you're probably 25% of their income corporately. It's just billions upon billions of dollars. So when you say, why did we were the sheriffs of Nottingham. We were the ones who decided what we're going to do with every product. If we didn't like what they would tell us to do, we said we did it anyway. I mean, give you a perfect example. I got a phone call one day from the lawyer, on a conference call, the same time from the lawyers from Marvel and from Warner's. At that time it was DC Comics, because they were in New York. They said, we want to see you up in our office right away. Who's got time to see you? Okay, I come up. And they're upset with their lawyers, two groups of guys with white suits. We understand you own the trademark for world's greatest superheroes. Yeah, I followed it. No one else did. We're talking about superheroes. They didn't own it. They didn't create it. World's greatest superheroes, we created. We created it because what we were doing was we were selling Batman and Spider-Man in an assortment in the same box, right? Maybe 6 Batman, maybe 4 Spider-Man, maybe 2 Hulk. So we could, small stores could be and have an assortment of goods. So how do you figure out royalty rates in those things? I mean, it was very convoluted. And so they both said to me, if you don't know the trademark back to us immediately, it was meaningless because I could use it. We're going to kill your license. I said, you can have it. So I went for $1. So I sold it back for $1. But I had exclusive rights to use it on my back. They just had no clue. Right now you go back and I grew up in that time. Why did I get all the licenses? I could beat anybody. Mattel was 10 times our size. I could walk around the clock today because we knew where all the bodies were buried, how to do all the licensing, what we could do, how fast we could come out with it, what the real value of that license was versus what someone thought it could possibly be. And so we would get all the licenses very, very, very quick. So when you ask me specifically about that stuff, it's because we changed it. We controlled it. They didn't. Now that changed by the end of the 70s, where all of a sudden they were making all this money and they have to protect their brands. They got all the now stuff. But it was much more fun in those days.
Do you have any recollections of the production of the 8-inch Hulk figure and creating a body that was different from the other Mego-sized bodies?
You have no idea how we try to keep the body the same. It just didn't work. So we're going to turn around and do a pad, like you see those fake pregnancy things that women have. They show in the movies.
I would have been a padded suit.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't work. So we literally had to, it pissed me off. I had a big whole new tool, which cost money in those days. But that's how that happened. And the Hulk's body was so different than the other bodies. The other bodies I could play with. There was no question you could move, massage them. You could not do it with the Hulk.
But you got to use it again for the thing. When you did Fantastic Four in '76, you got to use that.
Actually, got two questions. Will the company go public? And I have another question. Who was the one who, well, when Star Wars came out, what was the deal? Who didn't sign the contract?
Well, number one, this company will never go public. Because I'm too old and too smart to deal in that insanity of making on quarterly plays. The Star Wars thing, and by the way, what you're about to hear now is incredibly self-serving. Because this is about what really happened. Not like the fantasies out there. We at that time, for all intents and purposes, controlled all the merchandising and all the licensing. Star Wars was done by Fox. The previous year to Star Wars was Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes, we paid Fox over $1 million in royalties at 5%. At 5%, so we, you know, those would be over $22, $23 million in Planet of the Apes in '76, and maybe '75. Don't think that dates. My age, I get confused. But having said that, everything that was coming down the pike, they was offering to us. When we made a decision to move from the toy industry's building and start our own offices across from the toy building. It was a brand new building, great amenities, and because we moved in there, all of a sudden Hasbro moved in, Canon moved in, CBS Toy. We were by ourselves, and all of a sudden everybody followed me. Which was unfortunate for me, because I wasn't in America when the guy who came to license, the guy named Mark Betters. If you saw the toys that made us, Mark was a good friend of mine. I don't know, you gotta watch out for the editing, because him and I were very good friends. And there was no bad blood between us. What he did was he came to us. I wasn't there. He went to my lawyers. Said, what do you think of this? My lawyer said, because that's who we dealt with. Because he did all the contracts. And Mark was the lawyer. He wasn't even a licensing guy. And so he said, well, Marty's not here. He's in Hong Kong. The advance, by the way, just so you know, on Star Wars was $25,000. The original advance. It was so cheap that I mean, again, $25,000 is a lot of money even today, but not when you're talking about its advances for these big properties. I think go for tens of millions of dollars. And I just wasn't there. And I made all the final decisions. In fact, when it came to all the licenses. And because I wasn't there, he took down the elevator bag, went to the lobby, took up another elevator bag, and the guy from Canada was there. Now, he's never there. He's out of Cincinnati. He was never there. So I wasn't there, and I'm always there, other than my traveling. If I'm not doing my traveling, my number two guy was there. He would have at least held it for us. The other guy who's never there was there, and he said, "After $25,000, we'll take a shot." Because and I know what the guy said too. He says, "Marty's not here. You want to do it?" He was across the board. So they took it and they got it. So that is the real story. It was the bane of my existence, but life goes on.
Along with that, I don't know if you can speculate on this, but do you think Mego would have made 8-inch figures for Star Wars, or do you think he would have gone 3/4 route, or a combination?
Mego would have absolutely made 8-inch figures for Star Wars. There's no question, because understand, the reason the original Star Wars was launched, it was launched in an empty box. Empty, because they had it tooled up. That takes 6 to 9 months to get it to the marketplace. 6 to... and the tooling done. All that was costume. There's no question we would have done it.
Aquaman would have been Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
He's a fun guy. Put it out there.
great historical tragedy.
Yes.
I have a question in regards to the soldier line that you put out, the 6-inch line.
I'm sorry?
The Lion Rock soldier.
They were always sold in here.
World War II, Lion Rock.
Right.
They were all released in '76 in the European countries, and it all said Mego on the box. But when they were released in the States in '81, I mean, it said Lion Rock on the box in '76.
Right.
They weren't released in the States till '81, and they said Mego. Was the reason behind that because of the anti-war sentiment, because of the Vietnam?
No. Again, Mego had this facility in Hong Kong. It was, at that time, it wasn't the biggest. It's certainly in the top three in the size of manufacturing facilities, toy facilities in the Orient. In order to maximize that facility, my concept for marketing and selling was we create a brand in America, and then we market it worldwide through distributors in every country, in Europe as well as in Asia. This way we can run the product cheaper and more effective. All we have to do is just change the packaging. Right? In '76, we weren't going to do military for America, not because of Vietnam. It was just never on our boards. Someone came to us from Europe at that time who wanted to do military, and that's why it was done under the Lion Rock brand. Because some of our customers, we would what they call OEM, original equipment manufacturing. We OEM specifically for that country, that particular product, just to keep the facility continuously running to offset costs. In '81, by '81 we had run out of money. We were about to go out of business, and we took that line because it was all tooled up and done. All we had to do was packaging to see if we could get sales using that line, because it was already finished and done.
One of my favorite lines obviously is Star Trek 2. I love Kirk, I love Spock. I used to sleep with Spock when I was a little kid. But the aliens, like Mugato and Gorn, and what is a Neptunian? Like where did those concept arts come from?
You have to understand. I had a bunch of crazy people in my group, and they were very innovative. And again, we were the keeper. There was no Paramount at that time had no internal licensing. It was done through a third guy named. I'll give you his name. I remember this guy's name. It's 40 years ago. His name was Selman Rausch. Because of the money that we paid him in royalties, which he turned around and gave 2/3 to Paramount, he bought a farm in Vermont and named his dog Mego. The story just coming out of my head. You just triggered it. But having said that, they had no licensing department. We could do whatever we wanted to do, and we did it. So we talked all those different characters, how we changed the look. We didn't like the look of the character going. The looked ridiculous, So we changed. My guys took poetic license. I like this better. This is so beautiful. Don't do it.
Well, Mugato was great. I mean, he was so funky. He kind of fit the '70s, which was awesome. But just so.
Put him in a fursuit, but he looked like a teddy bear. Had they done him like the show, it would have looked like, in the package, it would have looked just like a plush.
Isn't he dressed like, isn't his tunic and all that kind of based on the girl from that episode? Because it looks
similar, yeah.
I'm thinking like, I can't remember the actress's name, but.
Do you think I have any idea what you're talking
about?
I just want to say thanks to you and the other employees at Mego for producing such great toys and making my childhood just awesome.
Who's responsible for the AJ song? Who wrote that? Who wrote those lyrics?
I went behind the piano. I had this inspiration, and I started. No. I couldn't write I don't even play a note. You know what you're talking about? You're talking about 1970, 1971. So that's 50 years ago.
So the mid-late 70s, when you started off with the World Greatest, you're DC, it's NPP based, then you jump over to Marvel, and you have like an interesting timing that we all noticed, like where Super Friends clicks in about the same time with DC, then Electric Company with Spider-Man, and you're riding that wave. And then at the end, you guys go back to DC. Was there pressure from DC to go back and put more of their characters out on the market at that point?
No, we were very opportunistic. Again, that whole wave you're talking about was, we followed the animation that came on the networks. So whatever, if it was Spider-Man, we go with Spider-Man. If it was Hulk, we would go with Hulk. If Batman came back on,
so the Fantastic Four,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything parallel, that I do remember. That, I mean, everything parallel what was being sold on the networks at that time.
Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Saturday morning cartoons.
So was there a reason for the jump to Teen Titans though? Because that was so.
The 6-inch body. They had the line, the
Line
smaller
rock thing,
line rock
person.
body.
Okay.
So then, looking for things to do with that, Teen Titans. Marvel didn't really have a smaller version, but you could do Teen Titans, a smaller body, and they'd be in line with, they'd work with the 8-inch.
Okay.
How did the celebrity licenses work? Like, would the labels approach you, or did you approach them?
Which celebrities are you talking about?
Well, all of them. But
Cher,
Diana, Farrah.
No, we, I mean, that was our job. Our job was to find, all celebrities didn't work. I mean, for example, if you don't remember Barbara Mandrell, she had her own TV show. She was incredibly adorable. But her persona didn't work as a fashion model. Because we had the rights to it. We just never brought her out. The flip side of that, Cher had this persona that was over the top. Farrah had the persona that was over the top. Muhammad has a persona over the top. So we were always, that striation, bringing out what was the cultural piece at that moment in time. And does it work? Music was not anywhere today in terms of the crossover and characterizations. So the first one we had the opportunity to do was Kiss. And we were the first ones to do that type. And McFarlane, after we went out, McFarlane then took it over and took it to another level. But you see some of this stuff. That's what we never did. Hendrix in those days, and we should have done Hendrix because he was unbelievable. And Janis Joplin was another one we should have done. But it didn't mix for our age group. Remember, there's a term called kids are getting older, younger. When the kids were 5, 6, 7, 8 during the 70s, they were 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-year-olds now think they're 13. And so you lose that 7 or 8-year-olds. How's that market play out? You got to find that the acceptability and that nuance that makes it work.
Now they're 40s.
Yeah, but that's what I was just saying.
It's like now the opposite, buying old toys now.
Yeah, 2 different questions. All of the AJ vehicles were battery operated. Why was that not carried over into the world's greatest superheroes? Was there a problem, or was that ever considered? Or I just always thought that was like all the vehicles.
Money. Again, the idea we came for the pocket superheroes, the comic superheroes, they aged out of 3 3/4. In 1974, there was a major oil crisis. I don't know if you guys remember that. You're probably too young to. But the cost of oil at that time doubled. Let's say it went from $20 a barrel to $40 a barrel. Today it's $80. I don't remember, but plastic is the essence of oil. It all comes out of the oil aspect. So we had to turn around and understand what was going on, and all of a sudden pricing started to get out of whack for what we consider the 8-inch size. So we wanted to reduce it. Now the same thing with the battery operator in that period of time. It was all costs. We had to maintain and control the cost of making this thing.
Can you imagine if we had to have the battery thing run behind the Batmobile?
I'm not saying it would have been
Friction,
better, but
Mego did friction as well. I had a snowmobile that was friction for action jacks. I still have it.
Yeah, one question. Is it true, was there a warehouse fire and a lot of the Migos, or was that like a myth?
That was created by Mark Huckabee.
So that was a
Yes,
so
I
never
remember
happened.
talking to Huckabee on the phone, asking about, gee, why are these Star Trek aliens so rare? He goes, didn't you hear about the warehouse fire?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And that's what we heard all through, you know,
Yeah.
and we looked it up, and no, there was no warehouse fire.
A myth.
Yes, it's a total myth.
Wow.
So, what do you think?
Another myth debunked.
Yes.
In the 70s, not just for the world's greatest superheroes, but for the whole company, did you look at regions, what sold per region in the US, abroad, focus groups, the type of marketing that's done today? Was it pretty much the same back then, 40 years ago?
That's basically what we did.
That's nice.
We were so unsophisticated in terms of. I mean, I spent my entire day, morning and night, cross-referencing characters and personalities. If I found a personality in People magazine, and I found her in Vanity Fair, and I found her in Popular Mechanics, I knew I had something. That's how we did it in those days. It was a constant flushing through. We didn't have the ability to go by regions. I didn't stop playing with the computer until I was 114. So information is given, but it was a whole different trip.
What's the one no you remember? What's the one license you tried to get that they said no that you still remember?
It said no.
People said, no, you weren't.
The ones that I went after
Yeah.
that said, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, lost out to, let's say, Mattel or Hasbro. Or
You know what?
Nobody stands out.
Nothing stands out.
What?
Nobody stands out.
No.
Officially got away. What do you got a question?
Go back to the Batman action figure. Where was the head sculpt based off Adam West? I always wondered that.
No. So it was based off the style guides and the comic book characters.
So you guys got some new characters picked out for the new Mego coming
Oh,
up?
we've got a ton of them.
Woo, baby!
In about a month.
Yeah, we've got, how many characters have come out?
Total, about 20.
Nice. Nice.
What was that answer?
Nice.
I didn't hear the answer. 20.
Yeah.
How do we pre-order them?
Take his money,
Relax.
Say
Give
empty
the
box.
information when the time, when they're allowed to.
Just get out,
Relax.
we're gonna open this thing up full tilt starting the 16th, an official announcement.
Couple weeks.
How do we work for you?
Paul told you, for real.
You know,
And I know what you said too.
Yeah, we'll create this ambassador program that we want you all to be part of.
Spread the word, brother.
MegoAmbassador.com.
I was curious, is the packaging going to be like a continuation of what you did in the 70s or something completely new?
The Lister card.
The answer is yes,
Yes.
but not necessarily the artwork. But the same size card, same size blister. You'll know immediately it's a Mego.
So traditional 8-inch body then?
Yes, traditional edge body.
Will they be in the store?
All right,
What?
all right.
Will they be
Take
in
it
the
easy,
store?
all right? You'll know in time, okay?
Well, I have a question about packaging. I mean, are you going to make it so that figures can be removed easily, or is it going to be back to a glued
No,
card?
you can't move them.
Yeah.
You have to rip the package apart.
Okay, all right, sweet.
It'll play. What do you-
I have a historical question. I don't want
Okay,
to talk
good.
about anything new. I want to be excited, right? I want to anticipate. I want to ask about your relationship with AHI. And I want to know how you felt about them at the time, how you dealt with them being so close to you and then
I
knocking
hated them.
off.
I hated them with everybody. They made me better because I just wanted to bury them. It wasn't, I mean, just, you look at the knockoffs, they didn't just knock me off. They took my key people.
Wow.
They poached, they were poaching my people.
Wow.
And so it wasn't that aspect. And I met this guy named Marvin Azrak. He was the head guy at AHI. He pissed me off so that when I turned around and created the bad guy for Micronauts, Baron Karza, Karza backwards.
No kidding.
Yeah. Interesting. I think it's an interesting story. really care if he hears this or not. We ran into each other about 10 years ago in Hong Kong. You know, what was happening for? Who cared?
Right.
Who cared? And we reintroduced each other. We became friendly. I mean, you know, in that context, and we maintained that friendship over the last few years. So life goes on. You know, but at that time, I wanted to strangle someone.
Well, we get yes, Chad.
1970s, Jaws. It seems like those would have been some pretty popular characters to have made. Was that ever considered?
The answer for me was never considered for us because it was a shark. I mean, that was the star. The shark is the bad guy, and then we just had, we were clueless how to do it. The answer was, it was considered. We did not have any clue how then to do it. And so it came across the radar, no, we just went on. It wasn't like we adapted, we built the prototypes, we went after the license, none of that.
So, toys that Mego made that made it to market, what surprised you the most and what disappointed you?
You're going back now to my feelings 40 years ago.
It's like therapy.
I can tell you what surprised me the most in the last 20 years, which was Skydancing. We never expected that to be as big as it was. Are you guys familiar with Skydancing?
Yeah.
Oh,
the string.
Oh yeah, okay. That over the last 20 years, that did close to 40 million pieces. So that shocked me on the upside. On the downside, I thought the Mego time, the most biggest shock was Magnitude. Do you remember Magnitude?
Yeah.
That was Mego did Magnitude. That was the drawing, like etch sketch and drawing with the magnetic ink. That was a huge success that we didn't expect.
And it survived after.
Yeah,
It was on Friends.
Yeah. Also on Seinfeld.
Any other questions?
What license that you didn't have do you think would have made the best Megos?
Well, listen, I didn't have that would have made the best Mego?
Yeah.
Oh, clear, Star Wars. That would have been by far
efficient.
Since the fire was not something that really happened, do you have any memory or clue as to what happened to that third wave of Star Trek figures, why they're kind of rare? I don't even remember seeing them in any of the stores here in Columbus, and I was relentless as a kid.
Well, you know what happened was Star Wars. Star Wars, in that third wave of characters, Star Wars came in with such a knockout punch that there was no room for it. On the shelf, there was no room for the hearts and minds of the kids. I mean, the hardcore guy like yourself understood, but you know, when you're talking about the bandwidth of the country, so it was very slightly reduced.
So they went to discount. Yeah, they got
Yeah,
discount.
I got a couple bucks. I was on the phone to every store in the city asking about Megos. I am not kidding.
eBay.
Hey now.
Thank you. Like you were talking about Azrac Hamway and the license. I mean, what about LJN and like the rookies and SWAT and emergency? Is that something that?
Well, all of them. All the LGN that had anything meaningful was Michael Jackson. And again, I don't think we would have done Michael Jackson because he never came across our bandwidth.
I was thinking like the SWAT and rookies.
But even SWAT and rookies, we did Chips.
Yeah.
We did Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
We did those characters, and they were okay, but they weren't great. That's what we did.
I just wondered if you had a great time in Hong Kong.
Sorry?
I just wondered if you had a great time in Hong Kong.
Well, yeah, my mother and father lived in Hong Kong.
Okay.
so they lived there for 15 years. I would make 5-6 trips a year there. Sometimes for no more than 2-3 days, just to, you know, make sure everything was going.
My question is for your grandson. I want to know if he's really aware of the cool history that his grandfather has, and if he ever had Megos to play with as a kid.
To play with, I never really had Megos. My brother he was always looking for some Megos, and my uncle, his son, he had a bunch, but my uncle lived in California, so we could never get them. So I think my brother went and visited him once. He was able to get, I think it was like a spot when he was there.
What about your granddad? Do you realize how much history he has?
I think I've seen a bunch of the history. I still see, he works with my dad now, so I still see, kind of get the inside of everything they have to do and how much work they really put into this.
Can I ask about why was there never a Taylor Charlton Heston figure called Five Days? Was that licensed? Charlton Heston.
You're asking a specific question, I'm going to give you a specific answer.
It's your generalization.
Quite candidly, in those days, I don't think you can. I really don't, I don't know. I think, I know we made a child, I know we made Taylor. I mean, in that aspect. Why it was never released, I don't know.
Who's got the prototype?
Not me.
He does, he's on boy.
Is there a real story about the mystery astronaut?
The mystery astronaut. Basically, it's Bruce Wayne's head on like an Action Jackson outfit, and it's one of these figures that was out there sold, probably outside the U.S., and nobody really knows why, you know, where it came about. And I think it was just a.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
You have to understand, you know, you sit up, in every company, you know, you got a titular head, and then it goes down into a pyramid. And in the middle of that pyramid, not the bottom, but in the middle of that pyramid, you got a lot of smart people. A lot of smart people. And they love to do shtick. You see in Disney all the time, some of the, you read about in their animation, things occur, language is not nice, pictures are a little weird. And so we had a lot, we were on a high-speed run to do we could do product in 90 days because we had the basic bodies done. So you had a sculpted head, and the rest was cut and sewn. Well, we're not cutting sewn something it's like, you know, a Gucci outfit. We're cutting sewn. We had to turn that stuff in 90 days. And so we're flying through these things, and people turn around and they want to put their creative impromptu on it. And so they turn around and do this type of stuff. And that's what, I mean, I've heard some of these stories and go, I have no idea what you're talking about. But, I mean, I know they're real because I've heard them. And that's what happens in a corporation. And quite candidly, he knows more about me than I do.
Did the company have any concerns that they wouldn't sell, the kids wouldn't buy villains?
No, we knew, I don't know if show the toys that made us how incredible Skeletor was. If you had the right villain, would be, the Joker was a big hit for us. I mean, you needed a great bad guy, so the good guy could kick his ass. And that was the whole premise. So we never had that. We knew that they wouldn't sell at the same level, and there weren't be as many of them in terms of what we call a great villain, like Misoplex. I can't even pronounce the guy there. It was me, but the Riddler sold, the Joker sold. So that aspect.
About only one or two more questions.
What?
Only one or two more questions.
Okay. Just curious, if you know, on the cards, DC had 3 different ones and Marvel only had 2. Do you know why there was no updated card art for Marvel in 1977?
That's the question again.
That's okay. In 1977, the DC card art was updated with new faces for the heroes and the Marvel was not. I'm just wondering if
Well, yeah, again, I was very close to DC. I was much closer to DC than I was to Marvel in the end. In the beginning, I was closer to Marvel because I was very close to Stan, Stan Lee. And he became a friend. A quick story about me and Stan. So with the Lessons show about 5 years ago, when he was still pretty vital, and I'm carrying a bag of samples on my shoulder for a presentation to Disney because I wanted to make certain things with him. And he says to me, as he sees me walking, he says, "You gotta be kidding, you still carrying your own samples?" So I said, "Hey, I'm still here, man, that's all I care about." But later on, what happened was the head of DC's art department, the top guy there, the head of Saul Harrison, his son came to work for me. So they would do things that and update things. He was very, very talented young man. I was an old fart like me.
So the new lines that are out now that are very Mego, like the Figures Toy Company Megos, they redid a lot of the originals and they added new characters. Have you seen those, and what are your thoughts on those?
I have seen those. I think they're pretty good. But again, here's the problem.
They're not Mego.
One, they're not Mego, but the worse than they're not Mego, because of the licensing and the restrictions, they can only turn around and target maybe 1% of the audience, because they're very limited to who they can add, both at price point as well as market condition. And so you can't until I got a partner that could turn around and give me this breadth at mass, I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't looking to do 20 of this, or 400 of that, or 2,000 of this, or 1,800 of that. I mean, the work is too much. So what we want, if we're going to create a collectability, we want to create a collectability where we can turn around and have some meaningful position.
Now, with the FTC stuff, with them having like the DC license, does that take DC off the table for you?
Different category. DC, I got such good things with DC. They're the guys that are running DC are very close to me, and they've been very kind and they've been very lovely. So
that's a hint.
I'd say that's part of the June 16 announcement.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's did a really, really nice book about the world's greatest superheroes. Did they work in
Ben Holcroft's.
Yeah. Is there a second volume with the Star Treks or the Planet of the Apes?
It's Ben. It was his. I don't think so.
I think superheroes was his thing.
We're actually making a book, a Mego book for Marty to
Nice.
That's San Diego.
That's what
I'm working on it.
Yeah, Paul Harvey, the whole story.
Gonna have.
And it's the rest of the story.
The rest of the story, that's right.
I know you're gonna wrap it up. Can you expand on some of the stuff you've done since Mego? I know they brought up dragonflies.
We've done
Can you elaborate on some of the other stuff?
Sky Dancer, which was pretty extraordinary. Dragonflies. We did the Power Glove, which is again that was the first into the virtual reality market. I would just say, give you a little oddball story. So you, what happened was after Mego goes out of business. What clearly the issue is, I knew I had to create in the Micronauts brand the ability to turn around and go after Star Wars. A little bit over the top, but that's what in fact we had to do. So we went to Takara and we started to create this brand. And basically it's Micronauts with hinges. And what is it? It's Transformers. So my team created Transformers. Now we go out of business. So I go to Steven Hassenfeld and I say to Steven, you gotta get this brand. Again, my mind was so distorted. I never said I should have gone and got the brand and then sold it to him, but I just told him, go get it. I got nothing for it. And he went over and got the Transformer brand from Takara. All the stuff that we had done, and then that transformed, that. So if we would have been able to make it through that year with Eagle Force, Transformers would have come in the next level. But that's a part of life. You live those things, and it is what it is. So from that, I can't forget how nice and good he was to us. He helped start and build my new design company, Abrams Gentili. He funded it for 5 years. We worked with him very, very closely. Out of that came Visionaries, which is part of the writing room, along with Micronauts for Hasbro, which is their Hasbro universe. He then turned around and funded the Power Glove. That Power Glove funding allowed us to turn around and create, and I will tell you this, we did this in 1992. We had a head-mounted display, just like you see that goes on today with everything that they're doing in terms of virtual reality. We had a Power Glove that goes in, you can video objects in 3D space, and we played video games. We had 8 video games done. Head-mount display, glove, and 8 games done. And Steven dies. If he doesn't die, we would have had that, because there was no courage in the organization after his death to spend $100 million to launch this thing. And that's what it would have cost. And I understand that completely, by the way. But if he doesn't die, then we would have been, virtual reality would have had their breakthrough back in the 90s, not now. Now everybody's talking virtual reality, augmented reality. So that was part of the process, the Power Glove of being that, put our head-mount display. We did a brand called Shiny Stars, which was a company, you can name a star after you, and you bought a doll, you can name a star after you and the doll. It has a location in the universe of the stars. We had a brand called Kindergarten Babies, which was very, very strong. In fact, Kindergarten Babies was a $100 million brand for Toy Biz. We did another brand that was called Fireflies. I don't know if you know Fireflies. Fireflies is a brand that we created in the iStar company that we did 4 million pieces. We did all the flying superheroes. Which is, so we've had, as I said, we had wings. They're all nice, they're terrific. In most lives it'd be a great career. But as compared to the Beatles, who cares?
How about any cartoons related to anything new coming out, being that you've done cartoons with certain?
No. We can't compete with the major studios or Hasbro.
The Beatles would make good Megos. What? The Beatles would make good Megos.
You got Paul McCartney's number?
Paul's last year.
Paul's a terrific band. And we, as we build all these other characters like a Hendrix, we will go then go there. In that aspect.
When should we expect them?
All right, let me see. I want to thank you very, very much for
Thank you.
So sorry.